जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारि। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारि। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना वनचारि। हरे कृष्णा राम राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम हरे राम कृष्णा हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा राम राम हरे हरे निताय गौर हरि बोल। राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय। राधा मदन मोहन की जय। राधा गोपीनाथ की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई काय रंग बलवान की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्स्वे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मणाहिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपः तमां वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणीं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं चैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष सभ्याभ्यन्तरं शुचे। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु चेतोदर्पणमर्जनं भवमहत्त्ववाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरिव चन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वत्मस्थापनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं। नामकार्य बहुडानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रादिपा नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवं ईदृशं हि जाननुरागः। त्रिनादपि सुनिचेन तरुरपि सहिष्णुना अमाननीय मानदेन कीर्तने सदा हरि। न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहैतकी त्वयि। अयि नन्दध्वज किङ्करपतितमां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थूलिसदर्शं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा पुलकिर्निचितमुपगता तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति। युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रवर्षायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहे न मे अश्लिष्यवापादरतं पिनस्तु मामदर्शनं मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विधतो रम्पतो मात् प्रणनाथस्तु एव नापरा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम राम हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम ग्रंथ की जय। श्रील व्यासदेव की जय। श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी की जय। श्री नारद मुनि की जय। श्री ब्रह्मदेव की जय। जय श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's and Mataji's, all assembled devotees ki jai. Praveen
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji, Hare Krishna. So Mataji, Praveen Prabhu, Akinchan Prabhu,
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Vanilla Mataji, from outside
Hare
location.
Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam. Satya Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Anandaram Narasimhan Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Happy to see you. Happy to see you.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Malingamayar Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Uma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam ji.
Satya Prabhu and Shirsha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Kiran Avala Prabhuji, thank you for joining. Jai Raju, thank you for joining. Satyadev Prabhu, Srivalli Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Tulasi Mataji and Raja Ramesh Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji and family, Dandavat Pranam. Ram Reddy Prabhu and Mataji, Dandavat
Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Swapna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Raju Prabhu, Shirsha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Suman Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Subara Prabhu and Nirpa Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Haripriya Mataji and Ravesh Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Shri Giraj Prabhu, Lavanya Mataji and whole family, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Mahesh Prabhu and Prashanti Mataji, Hari Bol. Bala Dhruv Prabhu and Bhavika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Must have gone to school. Yeah. Charani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. And Padma Mataji, Arvind Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Aparna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining. Meenu Mataji,
Pranam
Vivek Prabhu,
Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Pawan Prabhu and family, Dandavat Pranam. Sanjay Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pawan Prabhu and Sandhya Mataji, thank you for morning Aarti. Thank you for joining again. Dandavat Pranam. Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Teja Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna. It's so nice. The whole family is here. So it's wonderful to have such a family, isn't it? How many are fortunate to have such a family? Only few are fortunate to have such a family. Do you all feel we are one family, Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
और कोई भाई बहन है या यही फैमिली है? Yeah, this is wonderful family because this family is eternal family. The other family will go with this body. The other family that we have will go with this body. ये body गया, मामा गया, काका गया, नाना गया, चीचा गया, सब गया. But this family will remain till Goloka. Fortunately or unfortunately, you will have to see my face in Goloka also. Someday, some life, I don't know. So this is the beautiful family. So welcome to all family. And together we are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And after a long time, I got this opportunity. Actually, in between the Ekadashis came on Sundays. And I have a Sunday class that I take for new people. So I was not able to join, but I was attending the Bhagavatam classes given by others on other days. Wonderful classes. Once Radhesham Prabhu told that when he gives the Bhagavatam class to any new devotee in the temple, right? First of all, anybody feels embarrassed to give class in front of Radhesham Prabhu because Radhesham Prabhu is walking Bhagavatam. He just speaks Bhagavatam, out of spontaneity, and he lives Bhagavatam. He's a Bhagavata. I mean, I shouldn't be praising him in public like this, but I feel that he is a very, very special devotee. So he gives his assignment of giving Bhagavatam class to some people who joined 25 years after Radhesham Prabhu has joined the temple, right? So just imagine a 3 or 4 years in Krishna conscious person, or maybe a little more, sits on the Vyasasan, and Radhesham Prabhu is sitting in front of him, and he has to give Bhagavatam class. And Radhesham Prabhu, to make it more difficult for him, brings his notebook and a pen. Right, and he puts the date at the top, and he says, "Who is this Prabhu is giving the class? I'll write the notes." So once Radhesham Prabhu was saying that I really love sitting and hearing Bhagavatam from my seniors. I really love to hear from my peers, but I simply am amazed and I love most when I hear it from juniors. Why? Because he says that the sincerity that the juniors show in preparing themselves to come to a class is much higher. Not that he's comparing, but he's saying that when a junior devotee has to give a class on any any particular verse that is given to him, he goes to ISKCON Desiratory, he listens to 10 lectures, he reads commentaries of acharyas, he reads, book extended purports given by, other acharyas, and Purijana Prabhu and Krishna Prabhupada, and then he makes his notes and he structures it. Sometimes he even makes a presentation, right? And then he brings and shows it. It's a lot of effort that he puts in. And Radhesham Prabhu says that that's amazing. That's why when I sit in a new devotees class, I learn more, Radhesham Prabhu says. And he also says that we should never miss a Bhagavatam class. We should never miss a Bhagavatam class, because Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is spoken by Bhagavatas, and we are repeating it. I'm seeing today there are 35 participants, but I'm not seeing similar number of participants when others are giving Bhagavatam class here. And that really pains my heart. And sometimes, I myself miss some classes. Please forgive me for that. But I highly encourage everybody here to please become part of this family in a much extended way, attending Bhagavatam class every Saturday, every Sunday, every Ekadashi. Because by doing so, you're getting two things. One is you're getting a sincere preparation. You can see a sincere preparation by new devotees who are preparing for these classes. With great humility, they prepare and come. And I can tell you the amount of material I have seen being the way it is explained by Malingamaya Prabhu, Praveen Prabhu, Subbarao Prabhu, Anandaram Prabhu, Dasraj Prabhu, right? And everybody else who's been giving class, there's a lot of preparation that's gone in. And by you coming to the class, you are encouraging them. Number one, you're encouraging them, and you're also benefiting, because Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam, right? Bhagavatam, from anywhere you hear, if it is presented with sincerity, it will do its work. And so, even this conversation between Gaur Gopal Prabhu and his Guru Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, Gaur Gopal Prabhu told, I'm so much these days around surrounded by people. I don't know how to manage my senses and how to manage the situation, because I'm a celebrity now. So his Guru Maharaj told, the only solution for you to be fixed in devotional service is finish your rounds and attend Bhagavatam class every day, no matter who is giving, right? So Gaur Gopal Prabhu is there in Krishna consciousness for more than 25 years, but he sits and hears a class even of a devotee who is 3-4 years in Krishna consciousness in the temple. And that preparation that he makes and comes and he sits down and listens every single day, that's the instruction, right? So a devotee who hears Bhagavatam every day, the devotee who chants the 16 rounds every day, will be very, very protected by Maya. And that is a morning program that Srila Prabhupada has given. Unfortunately, most of us are not full-time in a temple, not yet. But that's the greatest program. It's like you get vaccinated every morning, right? And then you go out and you don't need a mask. You can face the world, and Bhagavatam will protect you. Bhagavatam will protect you. Trust me. Whenever I get an opportunity to prepare for a class for Bhagavatam, I really am grateful to Lord Krishna that that will make me sit some more time and read Bhagavatam and prepare for the class. You can see, this is his notes. This is his notes. I'm just showing, see all these notes. This is my preparation for today's class, right? And many more pages. But it makes me feel nice. Yes, it is important. We are not Bhagavatas here to sit and reveal our realizations. That's too high. We are here to repeat. And when we repeat, we learn, right? We learn. So I highly encourage everybody, whoever are there, 40 members in the call right now, please come for all Saturday and Sunday Bhagavatam classes, right? And keep all other classes aside. All other classes you can attend on later days with motivational speakers. That is okay. But when you're part of this satsang, Gachibowli Satsang, you should encourage each other and help each other progress, and give an opportunity for others to present their best that they can present. And at the same time, you also prepare nicely, right? And when you chant 16 rounds without any gap for at least 2 years, right? And maintain, maintain your altar in your heart exactly like the way Prabhupada likes it. You are also qualified to come and sit and give a Bhagavatam class, right? And then that will also purify you, that will purify me, that will purify everybody, and the whole world will benefit. And by the way, I was just browsing through the other day about the classes that are given so far. The little playlist that I have created for Srimad Bhagavatam, it's amazing. Like every single different devotee is giving one chapter at a time. It's like a good summary. Maybe just imagine 10 years down the line, you and me might just run the whole playlist, and we will hear all the chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam given by all our devotees in the satsang, and we finish the entire Bhagavatam summary, in a summary way, in a good detailed way, good presented way, good presentations, everything in a month or 2 months time, right? Isn't it nice? All of us are going to retire one day, I'm sure. And then we will sit on that easy chair. Maybe we cannot go for book distribution outside. 70-year-old, what do you think you'll do? You'll play this playlist, and you'll see yourself giving one of the classes in 2023, sitting in 2052, right? And then you'll remember, oh, this is how I learned. This is what how much I understood. And you'll also find yourself in the class that I was attending this class. In 2052, you should not have a regret that why I did not attend that class. So better attend. That's my humble request. Please don't mistake me. I'm only trying to encourage all of us to stay together, serve together, encourage each other together, and go back home, back to Godhead together. Yeah. So this is a very difficult class, because the more I was preparing, the more I realized that it is so difficult to discuss this topic of Chatushloki Bhagavatam. How can one discuss Chatushloki Bhagavatam? Right? And I was hearing from a senior devotee about certain qualities of Lord Krishna. Before I get into the today, it will be a lot of reading, because Prabhupada's purports are nectar. I don't want to miss reading them again. And I think we just read the purport, that's enough today. Maybe a little more I'll share here and there. But if you look at it, how can anybody do what Krishna has done? Right? I mean, Vedavyas could put together the whole knowledge of the universe, creation, God, everything in the Vedas. That itself is unbelievable. Like, how can anybody do that? How can you just write everything? Right? If you look out of your window right now, and whatever scene you are seeing, everything you have to capture in a book. Can you do that? You can't do that. You might capture something, you might miss something, but you might definitely miss a lot of things because your vision is limited. But look at the greatness of Vedavyas. He could put everything into Vedas. He could compile everything into Vedas. Then he distributed the Vedas into 4 sections, right? And then there came a time where he wanted to summarize the Vedas. He wanted to summarize the Vedas, and he summarized them into prominent 108 Upanishads. It is told there are Upanishads also. I think 240 or something, or 225. I forgot the number. But there are another Upanishads, the extension of Upanishads. But the prominent Upanishads that we know is 108. Now, some of these Upanishads have very less number of shlokas. Like Kali Shantarana Upanishad only has 8 shlokas. But on average, you can talk about something like 30 to 40 shlokas every Upanishad has. And some Upanishad has even more, right? Like Isha Upanishad has 18 shlokas, right? So if you say something like Chandogya Upanishad, that has something like 27 or 30 verses. Now, among these Upanishads, Shankaracharya told 12 are the most prominent. Right? Now he tried to summarize, just see what the great personalities are doing. Now there is this huge knowledge of Vedas that is summarized into Upanishads, and then these Upanishads are again being put in the order of the highest. Now, how did Shankaracharya make that list? Was it his favorite Upanishads? No. Again, there is another Upanishad called Maha Upanishad. Among the 108 Upanishads, there is an Upanishad called Maha Upanishad. In the Maha Upanishad, it gives the order of the Upanishads. That these are 1, 2, 3, 4 in the order of priority and importance. So Shankaracharya also based his discussions based on those Upanishads, the top 12. Right? And then look at the greatness of Krishna. He comes in the battlefield of Kurukshetra and he summarizes all these 108 Upanishads and Upanishads and everything into 700 verses. How can he do that? I mean, if you think it's impossible, like how can anybody summarize everything into 700 verses? And the choice of words that Krishna uses to summarize each single verse, what kind of meaning it carries, how much one can discuss on one verse. Entire Vedas, Sarva Upanishado Gao, Dogda Gopalanandana, Parthovacha Sudhir Bhokta, Parthovacha Sudhir Bhokta, what is it? Gitamritam Mahat.
Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat.
Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. Thank you, Mati. I was not getting that word, Dugdham. Yes. So, the whole thing is summarized by Krishna. Krishna's another name is Dhira Lalita. Acharya explained his name is Dhira Lalita. Dhira Lalit, rather. Dhira Lalit means Lalit. First of all, Lalit means a person who can speak very serious matter in a very joking way and in a very simple way. Somebody, who is always jovial, who always makes things very simple for people to, when he speaks anything, and he brings everything in a very hilarious and a very simple way. Right? So that is Krishna. That is Krishna. Krishna is Lalit. Somebody who can do that. And Dhira, Dhira also means somebody who is fixed. Somebody is completely in control. Dhira Tranamuyati, we say, right? So Dhira means somebody who is completely undisturbed. And somebody who chooses the words exactly like what is needed. Krishna is in full control of his words when he's speaking. He doesn't speak a single word that is not necessary. When he spoke Bhagavad Gita and he spoke everything that was necessary. But he didn't speak anything that was not needed. Nobody can say even one shloka of Bhagavad Gita was not needed. Or actually, when we say 108 shlokas is there, which is important in Bhagavad Gita, yes, that is important to understand the tattva of Bhagavad Gita, but Bhagavad Gita is 700 shlokas. We can't say, oh, this shloka is not. Even the shloka spoken by Arjuna, or for that matter Sanjaya, or for that matter even Dhritarashtra, the one shloka that he spoke is very important. Everything that came into it, Gita Upanishad. And now look at this Dhira Lalita personality of Krishna. When the time came for him to explain Brahma, everything that he needs to pass on the knowledge in Brahma Sampradaya or any Sampradaya who reads Bhagavatam, he summarized the whole Bhagavatam into 4 verses. How is it possible? It's inconceivable. I mean, how can anybody do that except Krishna? And that is why he's God. He can do anything, right? He can make a huge tree sit into a small seed. He can go through eye of a small needle. He can push an elephant. He can do anything. He can summarize the whole Vedic literature in 4 verses. Now, how can more difficult than that is in the given time of 45 minutes maybe from now, I have to discuss those 4 verses. So I was just thinking, how can I do that? It's not humanly possible. It's not humanly possible. So what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to go in detail. I'm going to go through certain aspects of what was discussed. Of course, we will read the purports of Prabhupada. That might take 20 minutes. All the 4 verses, we will read them because Prabhupada has put his, devotional ecstasy into this purports. Because Prabhupada knows it's Chatushloki. When Prabhupada was writing these translations and purports, Prabhupada knew that I have to give this entire summary of the whole Bhagavatam, entire 12 cantos in these 4 verses. So the purports are very important, right? So, I mean, how did the whole thing start in first place? if you look at this conversation, let's take few steps back. And some of our devotees have already discussed this, but I'm not going to get into detail. But in the 8th chapter, it's a conversation and inquiry from Parikshit Maharaj. In the 2nd to 8th chapter, he's asking Sukadeva Goswami, my dear Guru, tell me, I need to know a lot of things. I want to know about the greatness of God. I want to know about what is the difference between my body and Krishna's body, the Almighty's body. Is there a difference? And what is the position of the universes in Lord's body? When you say that everything is coming from Lord's body, where are these universes situated? How is it happening? How people have different bodies? Like, what is the difference in my body and demigod's body? Right? Very basic questions is asking. Everything in detail he's getting into there, right? How the creation takes place, characteristics of different castes and orders of life. About Varnashrama also he asked, what is the way this whole creation functions, right? And how do the mystics do their mystic yoga and they can separate themselves from the body, right? And of course, procedures of what are the procedures of dharma, karma, akarma, moksha. What are the procedures? And so there's so many questions. The entire 8th chapter is questions that Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami. And Sukadeva Goswami's last answer there is, okay, you want the answers for this, but by the way, the same questions were asked by Brahma to Krishna. And Krishna himself answered them. So I don't have to create anything new. Let me first tell Krishna's answers. Then I'm going to elaborate on that, right? So he tells these 4 verses of Krishna's answers. And first he tells about the situation, what happened. So 9th chapter starts. I think it was Praveen Prabhu and Loesh Prabhu who did the first few verses of this chapter. The 9th chapter starts with the question of Brahma, right? Like, how did the whole thing start? So without the mercy of Krishna, nobody can get the answers to this, because conditioned living entities cannot understand the answers to this. So basically, on starting, the moment you say I and mine, the conditioned life starts. That's what Sukadeva Goswami explains. And then he says that Brahma, actually, when he appeared from, the lotus navel, in a lotus flower from Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan, he came out and then he was looking for the source. Now he has come to do creation, but he doesn't know how to. And he is looking for the source from which he has come. He is looking around. There is only darkness. There is only darkness. Then he's like, what am I supposed to do? Can I go down? So he actually went down. Bhagavatam explains, he went back into the lotus all through the stem and was going down and down to see where did I come from. And after many celestial years of going down, he realized that there is no end to this. Then he comes back into the lotus. I mean, just think about it. If you are in that situation, what is going on here? You're going down. You don't know where you are. You don't know where you are. You are like, you're in this lotus and you don't know where you come from. And then he hears 2 words, tapa. Tapa. This is the first word in creation that he hears. And the tapa means to do penance, right? Since Brahma surrenders, that the order has come from my Lord, that if I do tapa, I will get to know where I am and who is that personality who has brought me here. So he sits down and he does tapasya for 1,000 celestial years of demigods. That is like huge, right? So many years he does tapasya. It's not easy to do that kind of tapasya. Nobody can do that tapasya. And no wonder Brahma is known as the greatest yogi. Among the yogis, he is the greatest yogi. That's why he lives in the Siddha Loka also, the place where yogis live, right? The highest planet in the material creation, he lives there. So, looking at that tapasya, Lord is very pleased and he actually appears to Brahma. In the 9th chapter, it is explained that he appears to Brahma and he shows his Vaikuntha Loka. He shows himself and he says, because you did tapasya, Brahma, I am very happy. Because Krishna says that me and tapasya are inseparable. I am tapasya. Krishna says I am tapasya. Because through the tapasya only, I create, I annihilate, I maintain. So who is not doing tapasya here? But our tapasya and Lord's tapasya is different. We have to fight with our senses to do the tapasya. Krishna doesn't fight with his senses to do tapasya. For him, tapasya is also a very, very enjoyable activity. Right? So he is doing the tapasya, and he shows himself, as soon as he shows himself, Brahma pays the first obeisance, the first dandavat pranam of this creation. Right? He pays, and then something surprising happens is that Supreme Lord comes and he appears in his form, his personal form, and he gives a handshake to Brahma. I was amazed to hear, handshake. And that's part of our culture as well. That means, just not this, but he actually gives a handshake. Prabhupada writes, it translates a handshake to Brahma. He says, okay, Brahma, you're all set. Go ahead. We can start creation now. And he gives all the knowledge of the Vedas to Brahma. All the knowledge, everything that Brahma needs to know to do the creation, the knowledge is given. Right? And now Brahma has to start the creation. And at that time, Brahma asks certain questions. What are the questions he asks? He says, you are Paramatma in everyone's heart, and you know everything. Please tell me why you take form even though you don't have such a material mundane form. Why are you doing the avatars? Why are you coming and taking this form? He asks this question. Then he says, please reveal these answers to me. Please explain me your instructions so that I can do the creation without being attached to that creation. See, Brahma's beauty is, the amazing part of a devotee is, even before he starts the service, he is asking the Guru, how do I make sure that I don't become proud of doing this service? Amazing, isn't it? Because see, the whole purpose of service is to become humble. And after doing the service, if you become proud, then what is the point in doing that service? The service has worked reverse for you. Right? So he says, I want to become humble. So Krishna, please save me. You shook hands with me and you're asking me to do this creation, and I'm very doubtful that I'll become very proud. And if I become proud, the whole purpose is lost. Right? So how do I remain humble? So this is one of the amazing questions he asks. And then Lord Krishna says that now I'm going to tell the knowledge to you. And if you apply this knowledge as it is, you will never get pride. You'll never get pride. So that's the beauty of Bhagavatam. Anybody who reads Bhagavatam sincerely will never become proud. Right? He will only become humble. Because the entire Bhagavatam is an expansion of these 4 verses. What Krishna is going to speak now, it is an expansion of these 4 verses. And we will become humble by reading this. If you see somebody becoming proud that I know Bhagavatam, or proud that I'm very knowledgeable, after reading Bhagavatam, that means the mood was not right. He has not understood the essence of Bhagavatam, right? So essence of Bhagavatam is to not become proud as we serve the Supreme Lord. And he will give realization of his form also. Lord Krishna says, you'll also understand my personal form. Yeah. Now these 4 verses, Provision Matajis, we'll try to recite them and read the translation. Then I'll keep reading the purport. And I would say, let us focus on reading and concentrating as I read the purport of Prabhupada. Because frankly, Prabhupada is already given exactly the way we are supposed to understand it. I don't think I have much to say or elaborate there. All the great sannyasis who have given class on the Chatushloki have made sure that they've just repeated Prabhupada's purport, because Prabhupada's purport has everything, right? So let's focus and we'll see how much we can add, or if there is any question, we can discuss it, right? So I'm going to share my screen and we will go forward from here. Yeah. You can see my screen, Provision Matajis?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so it's a Ekadashi day, and we're reading Bhagavatam. And by the way, we are reading the entire Bhagavatam. But doesn't mean that you go and tell outside, I finished Bhagavatam. You not finished Bhagavatam. You have just read a summary of Bhagavatam given by Lord Krishna himself, right? So 2.9.33, second canto, 9th chapter, 33. Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to read the verse. Aham evasham evagre nanyad yat sad asat param paschad aham yad etaccha yo avasishyata so asmi aham. Aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Eva, only. Asam, existed. Eva, only. Agre, before the creation. Na, never. Anyat, anything else. Yat, all those. Sat, the effect. Asat, the cause. Param, the supreme. Paschat, at the end. Aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Yat, all these. Etat, creation. Cha, also. Ya, everything. Avasisyeta remains. Sa, that. Asmi, I am. Aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature. The cause of this creation, that which you see now, is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Yeah. So I'll just read the first line of purport, to start with. We should note very carefully that personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation, it is he only who maintains the creation, it is he who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Now, Prabhujis and Matajis, if you see the translation or the verse itself, right? The verse itself, aham evasham evagre nanyad yad sad asat param paschad aham yad etaccha yo avasisyeta so asmiham. There is 3 ahams here. Can you see that? Aham, aham, aham. Some acharyas explain that there is no other verse in the entire Vedic literature where Supreme Lord has told aham 3 times. You'll see mostly once he'll say aham sarvasu prabho matta sarvam pravartate. One place he says aham, right? Or sarva dharman pariteja mam ekam sharanam raja. Mam or aham, almost the same meaning. Me. And another thing, if you see, it starts with aham, it ends with aham, the verse itself, right? So acharyas explain that Krishna is so beautifully spoken in such a simple way, simple understanding, that he exists before the creation, he exists during the creation, and he is the one only there after the creation also. So he starts, he's in the middle, he's in the end. Simple thing, right? I mean, we might feel, probably, what is there to discuss in this? It's simple. But there is something important you should understand, that why is it Krishna speaking this verse? And another beauty of this verse is, nowhere here is saying that I am the personality of God. Is he saying that anywhere? Do you see any word called Bhagavan, Ishvara in the verse? Aham evasham evagre nanyad yad sat asat param paschad aham yad etaccha yo avasisyeta so asmi aham. In the translation also, word to word synonyms, I don't think there is a word where Krishna is saying he is God. Right? So why is Prabhupada translating aham as I, the personality of Godhead? See this? Aham. He's saying I, the personality of Godhead. Then he's saying aham, I, the personality of Godhead. Right? Again, here in between also, I, personality of Godhead. Why? Let's discuss this for a minute. What do you think? Why is Prabhupada trying to put his own understanding in Bhagavatam, or why is he saying? Krishna didn't say he's God. He's just saying, I was there in the beginning, I'm there in the middle, I'm there afterwards also. Why is he saying personality of Godhead? What comes to your mind?
That he has a form, Prabhu.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, he has a form. He has a personal form. He is a personality. Aham. Aham doesn't mean some tubelight light or some bulb or some Brahman. He is speaking that I am a person. I was there. I was there. Right? Before, me and creation are two different things. Right? That is, he is a person. Now, what about the God aspect? The personality of God aspect.
Hare Krishna. I think
Yes,
in
ma'am.
Sukha Goswami wrote Bhagavan Uvacha, and then he continued this. So, because
so he said Bhagavan Vacha. Yes, correct. So we already know that he is the Supreme Lord who is going to speak. And another thing that we should understand, that the mood, the mood of God, why is he saying this also is very important. There is a way we read scriptures. One is we just read the verse and we go forward. Oh, Krishna told this. Okay, we are going ahead. But if you just wait and try to put a why question, why did Krishna say this? Then it gives you the right understanding of the verse. Right? Just like in our conversations, our father say, we are having a conversation with our mother or father, and they say something that tomorrow, please, every day, please come home early. For example, my mother is saying, every day, please come home early. Don't stay in the office too late. Every day, come home early. Now, this is a very simple statement. It's simple. Every mother says that. I can leave it like that. Or I can just think.
Let me talk. Practical mundu surgery పెట్టుకొని చెప్పులు తీసుకున్నాను.
Yeah, I just muted. Okay. Yeah. So why is my mother saying so? The moment you get into the why aspect, then you'll actually get a full understanding of why she's saying it. Because she is lonely, she doesn't have anybody to talk to, and she wants me home early, right? The why gives more meaning to why that statement is made. Now here also, when you look at this verse, why is Krishna even speaking this verse? Yeah, Brahma has all the knowledge, but he's putting a lot of emphasis. Me, I am the one who was there before. I am the one who is there now. I am the one who will be after. I am that person. He's declaring himself. He's introducing himself. He's mercifully, emphasizingly telling everybody who is going to read Bhagavatam that he is that supreme person. Without any doubt, he's telling that he is that supreme person. Aham. Emphasis, right? Simply casually speaking is one thing. Emphasizing is another thing. Here, Krishna is emphasizing. You should understand that. Not every place Krishna emphasizes. For example, Krishna uses the word aham. I am God. Even to gopis he tells, during Rasa dance, he tells, I am the Supreme Lord. But he doesn't emphasize. But here, he is emphasizing that I am that person. Understand, the whole Bhagavatam is to understand me. The whole scriptures are to understand me. Vedesta sarver ahameva veda. Vedanta krit Vedavit aham chaham. Basically saying, I am the compiler of the Vedas. The entire Vedanta is to understand me. Aham. I am the personality of God. Right? So here you should understand why the verse is aham, aham, aham 3 times. And Prabhupada also beautifully, he keeps in the first place itself, in the first line of purport, he says the word emphasis, right? With great, specifying with great emphasis. Himself. He himself is emphasizing, right? So that's very important. So how do you understand the entire Bhagavatam? Chatushloki Bhagavatam represents the entire Bhagavatam. But here you should understand the first shloka is putting an emphasis that he is the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavatam, you should not come into a different conclusion after reading the entire Bhagavatam that, oh, I think I have understood somebody else as Supreme Lord. No, it's Krishna who is supposed to be Supreme Lord. And one more thing, if you look at the verse, it says, I am there before the creation, I am there during the creation, and I am there after the creation. After the creation is annihilated. So who is there with Krishna before the creation and after the creation? Somebody has to be there, right? Krishna means he's God. He can't be alone. Krishna and service are inseparable. Krishna and seva to Krishna are inseparable. Like Krishna and his name are inseparable. Krishna and his service are also inseparable. Right? So what would you say? What would you think and tell me now? That he is there before the creation. So after creation, you and me are there. But after the creation is annihilated, is he alone? Is Krishna ever alone?
No, Prabhu.
So here, the great acharyas, when they read verses like this, they immediately make sure that they bring out the points, that living entities should not get a doubt like Krishna is alone. You should understand that Krishna is not speaking about the whole creation. He is talking about only material world here. Right? So his abode, as he tells in Bhagavad Gita, he says, when everything is annihilated, my abode still remains, he says in Bhagavad Gita. That Parama Dham is always there. And my pastimes, my name, my leelas are eternally going on. So spiritual world is always there. Right? It's not like Krishna is there before the spiritual world, Krishna is there after the spiritual world. Don't try to misinterpret that. He's talking material world here. Are you all understanding? He's not talking about spiritual. Spiritual world is him. He and spiritual world are inseparable. His Leela, his name, it is him. His Dham, everything is Krishna himself. Everything is spiritual. But material Dham, it keeps coming and going. It is real, but it's temporary. It creates, it annihilates. So here Lord Krishna, when he says that I was there before the creation, and I'm there during the creation, in the creation, and I'm after the creation also, when it's all gone, I'm still there. He's talking about the material world. Sridhar Swami, Prabhupada immediately quotes Sridhar Swami because Sridhar Swami clarified this hundreds of years ago. That actually when Krishna says this, it is not that he is not there, he's not alone. In fact, one of the paintings, I think it was Jadurani Mataji or one other great devotee, Prabhupada disciple, she made a painting of Krishna, beautiful painting. And she brought it to Prabhupada, thinking Prabhupada will appreciate it so much. And Prabhupada told, who asked you to make this painting? I never told you Krishna like this. The Prabhupada, it's so beautiful. Krishna, same features that you told. No. Where is cow? Where is peacock? Where is Radharani? Where is Gopas? Where is Gopi? Where is Vrindavan? Where are the Vanchakalpas? Where are the desire fulfilling trees? Krishna can't be alone. Where is Yamuna? Right? Prabhupada told her that this photo I'm not approving. Krishna without anybody. Where is his fruit? Where is the peacock feather? Fruit and peacock feather is there. What about the residents of Vrindavan? Krishna can never be alone. Krishna is never alone. So it's not like before creation is alone and after creation is alone, during creation is with everybody. No, this is about material world. Did everybody understand this? Very important aspect. So, Prabhuji has sent a comment. Anandaram Prabhu has sent a comment. Says Krishna addresses this point in Bhagavad Sandarbha 96.12. Okay. As in the sentence that king goes, the word king may also mean the king's messenger or the king's soldiers. So that the word aham, I, here does not only mean Lord, but also means Lord's abode of Vaikunta, the Lord's associates, and everything else in direct relation with him. In this way, the meaning should be understood. This is consistent with the teachings of larger tradition, which states that Krishna is always in the company of his divine associates. Thank you, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. This is Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. Huh? Very nice. You are reading the Sandarbhas, Prabhu?
There's a very nice, beautiful ISKCON Pune article, Prabhu. I'll share that in the group.
Yeah.
In that they have taken also Burijan Prabhu in his commentary that he has done it's available on ISKCON Desire Tree. He refers extensively to Bhagavata Sandarbha and also the other acharyas. In that also he mentions the same thing, Prabhu.
Very nice. It reassures what I was trying to emphasize here and what Prabhupada is also trying to emphasize. So let me read the purport now. So I humbly request everybody to please keep everything, every other activity aside and hear this purport, because this is a devotional ecstasy. Everything Prabhupada had to say, he told in this purport. Okay? So I'm going to read. It will take roughly 6 to 7 minutes, but please focus. We should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation, and it is he only who maintains the creation, and it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I, because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord. The principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator, I, and that Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator and the predominated I. Predominator I and predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalist. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad, in the sense of quality. The Katha Upanishad says, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bhunam Yo Vidadita Kaman. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both are Nityas. Nitya Nityanam Chetana Chetananam and Chetana, conscious. Right? But the singular I is the creator. Eko Bahunam. He is great. That Eka is very great. Yo Vidadati Kaman. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are the plural number because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The Father creates and begets a son, and the Son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings, but at the same time from the Father, the Son and the grandsons are all different. The Son cannot take place of the Father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the Father, the Son, and the grandson are one and also different. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I's, and thus there is a vast difference between the two principles of I. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and the predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalist that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature, stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school, is refuted by pointing out that the predominator, I, is the absolute truth and he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For realization of oneself in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself to be the same principle as the absolute truth, but there is always the difference of the predominated and the predominator, as clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing face to face his predominator Lord, who exists in his transcendental eternal form, even after the annihilation of the material creation. The form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all its ingredients and the agents of the material creation are also energetic expansions of the Lord. And after the exhibition of the Lord's energy comes to a close, what remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of the Lord exists in all circumstances of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The Vedic hymns confirm this fact in the statement Vasudeva Vasudevo va idam agra asin na brahmana cha shankara eko narayana asin na brahma nesana, etc. Before the creation, there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayana was there, and no one else, neither Brahma nor Ishana. Sripad Shankaracharya also confirms in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita that Narayana, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is transcendental to all creation, but that the whole creation is a product of Avyakta. Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there, although both the creator and created are of the same quality. The other feature of the statement is that the supreme truth is Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom have already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the four-handed residents of those planets. With great opulence of wealth and prosperity, and there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high-grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of God exists before the creation, and he exists with all transcendental variegatedness in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas, also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of Sanatana nature, are not annihilated even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Those transcendental planets are of a different nature altogether. And that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of material creation, maintenance, or annihilation. The existence of the personality of God implies the existence of the Vaikuntha Lokas, as the existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom. Like just now, Jiva Goswami's Sandarbha that Anandaram Prabhu shared, exactly the same line is being mentioned here. King and the kingdom. Right? So if you're a king, there should be a kingdom. Otherwise, what is the meaning of being a king? So Krishna and Vaikunthas or the Goloka is all simultaneously existing. In various places in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8.10, Maharaj Parikshit asks, Sachapiyatra Purusho Vishwasthiti Udbhava Yaya Mukta Muktvatma Mayam Mayesha Sete Sarva Guhashaya. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusion energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is the question of the Viduras. Tatvanam Bhagavam Stesham Katitha Pratisankrama Tatremam Ka Upashiran Kayu Swed Anuserate. Bhagavatam 3:737. Sridhar Swami explains this in his notes. During the annihilation of the creation, please everybody focus on this. Sridhar Swami is explaining. During the annihilation of the creation, who serves the Lord lying on the Sesha, etc. Who serves the Lord? Lying on the Sesha, etc. That this means that the transcendental Lord, with all his name, fame, quality, and paraphernalia, exists eternally. The same confirmation is also there in Kashi Kanda of the Skanda Purana in connection with the Dhruva Charita. It is said there, Na Chyavante Apiyat Bhakta Mahatyam Pralaya Padi Ato Achyuto Akhile Loke Sa Eka Sarvago Avyaya. Even the devotees of the personality of Godhead are not annihilated during the period of the entire annihilation of the material world, not to speak of the Lord himself. the Lord is ever existent and in all three stages of material change, right? So the impersonalist adduces no activity in the Supreme, but in this discussion between Brahma and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is said to have activities also, as he has his form and quality. The activities of Brahma and other demigods during the maintenance of the creation are to be understood as the activities of the Lord. The king or the head executive of a state may not be seen in the government offices, for he may be engaged in royal comforts. Yet it should be understood that everything is being done under his direction and everything is at his command. The personality of God is never formless. In the material world, he may not be visible in his personal form to the less intelligent class of men, and therefore he may sometimes be called formless. But actually, he is always in his eternal form in his Vaikuntha planets, as well as in other planets of the universes as different incarnations. The example of the sun is very appropriate in this connection. The sun in the night may not be visible to the eyes of men in the darkness, but the sun is visible wherever it has risen. That the sun is not visible to the eyes of the inhabitants of a particular part of the earth does not mean that the sun has no form. In the Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad 141, there is a hymn, Atmai Vedam Agra Asit Purusha Vidha. This mantra indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, even before the appearance of the Purusha incarnation, right? He is there even before the appearance of Purusha incarnation. Purusha incarnation is what? Anybody? What is the meaning of Purusha incarnation? How many Purusha incarnations are there?
The Chaturvya Prabhu.
Three.
Three.
Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu. There is Purusha incarnation. So he's saying that the Narayana existed even before the Purusha incarnation. Krishna existed even before. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.18, it is said that the Lord Krishna is the Purushottama because he is the Supreme Purusha, transcendental even to the Purusha Akshara and the Purusha Kshara. The Akshara Purusha or the Mahavishnu throws his glance over Prakriti or the material nature, but the Purushottama existed even before that. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad therefore confirms the statement of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Krishna is the Supreme Person, Purushottama. Purushottama doesn't mean great among the men here in this Purushas, we're all threes anyways, but we are in a Purusha body, some of us. But the real Purushas is talking about the real three expansions of Purushas, Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu. He is the source of them. In some of the Vedas, it is also said that in the beginning only the impersonal Brahman existed. However, according to this verse, the impersonal Brahman, which is the glowing effulgence of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord, may be called the immediate cause, but the cause of all causes, or the remote cause, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's impersonal feature is existent in the material world because by material senses or material eyes, the Lord cannot be seen or perceived. One has to spiritualize the senses before one can accept to see or perceive the Supreme Lord, but he is always engaged in his personal capacity and is eternally visible to the inhabitants of Vaikuntha Loka face to face. Therefore, he is materially impersonal. But as the executive head of the state may be impersonal in the government offices, although he is not impersonal in the government house. What an example Prabhupada is giving. You can't see your boss in the office doesn't mean that the boss doesn't exist. Boss is not an impersonal word. Boss is a personal word. Boss is not there in the office right now. He might be in his house, but boss is there. Similarly, even God is there for material people. In the spiritual world, is always visible, but in the material world, he sometimes appears to be impersonal, but he is there. Right? So it's a beautiful explanation of Prabhupada. Similarly, the Lord is not impersonal in his abode, which is always Nirastha Kuhakam, as stated in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam. Therefore, both the impersonal and the personal features of the Lord are acceptable as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. This personality of God is very empirically explained in the Bhagavad Gita in connection with the verse Brahmano hi pratisthaham 14.27. Therefore, in all ways, the confidential part of the spiritual knowledge is realization of the personality of Godhead and not his impersonal Brahman feature. One should therefore have the ultimate aim of realization not in the impersonal feature but in the personal feature of the absolute truth. The example of the sky within the pot and the sky outside the pot may be helpful to the student for his realization of the all-pervading equality of the cosmic consciousness of the absolute truth. Right now, this example is quoted by Mayavadis. Trust me, if you are preaching and a Mayavadi happens to come and sit in your place, this is one of the most famous things that they explain how God is, right? So there is air inside the empty pot. When the pot is broken, the air merges into the remaining air. So the air was never separate. So they say we are also like that. We also merge into God. We are separate right now in a pot. Pot is nothing but a body. When the pot breaks, we merge back. Like that they say. But here Prabhupada is so clearly explaining that the pot is there, the air is also there, but this is only for a material situation, not for the spiritual situation. You should understand the all pervasiveness of the God by this example. That the air is there everywhere, inside also, outside also. But it's not about you and God. You will remain you, God will remain God. So that's why Prabhupada is specifically quoting this and is saying, I'll repeat this again. The example of the sky within the pot and the sky outside the pot may be helpful to a student for his realization of all pervading quality of the cosmic consciousness of the absolute truth. But that does not mean that the individual part and the parcel of the Lord become the supreme by the false claim. It means only that the conditioned soul is a victim of the illusionary energy in her last snare. To claim to be one with the cosmic consciousness of the Lord is the last trap set by the illusionary energy or Daivamaya. Even in the impersonal existence of the Lord, as it is the material creation, one should aspire the personal realization of the Lord, and that is the meaning of Paschad Aham Yad Etacho Avyavistyeta So Asmi Aham. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What a purport. Prabhupada smashed all the Mayavadis in this purport, if you can see. Because you see, Prabhupada faced so much challenges from so many great scholars and so-called Vedantists who interpreted everything in a most wrong way. But when Prabhupada got an opportunity, he put his entire heart into this purport. And he told, this is what Krishna is. Krishna is not impersonal. Krishna is a person, and whatever comes out of him will have the same quality, but he still remains God. Nobody can become God. He, in fact, even keeps Purusha incarnations below. He says the source of Purusha incarnation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So clearly, and he is saying that Krishna's name, form, quality, dham, everything is spiritual. Everything is same. Any questions, anybody at this point? I know these are long purports. Okay, let me ask a question. I'll go back to the verse. What kind of a verse is this? When Vedavyas wrote the Vedas, he categorized them into 3 categories. All the knowledge is categorized into 3 categories. What is that categories? No, that is the form of the Lord. I'm saying all the Vedic literatures are categorized into 3 categories.
Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana Prabhuji.
Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. Thank you, Mataji. That's the way. So this verse is what? Is Sambandha verse or Abhideya verse or Prayojana verse?
Sambandha verse.
Correct. Sambandha verse. Brahma, the personality of Godhead. So he's explaining who is God, who is Jiva, what is Prakriti. He's explaining the Sambandha. I'm going to remain even after the annihilation of this Prakriti. I was there during also and before also. So this is Sambandha verse. Always, the way when we read scriptures, 2 things we should do is every verse that you get, we try to categorize what it belongs to. It belongs to Sambandha, Abhideya or Prayojana. And second thing, why this verse was spoken. You should meditate a little on that. Why this verse was spoken. Then you'll get much more understanding of what the speaker wanted to achieve, including whether it's God or great acharyas or Vedavyas himself. Why that verse was spoken, right? So for some of you who are new to this concept of these 3, basically there are 3 categories in which all the Vedic knowledge falls. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Sambandha means relationship. Abhideya means Abhideya means the process to establish that relationship, and prayojana means the goal of maintaining the relationship. So in Bhagavatam, Krishna achieves all these three. The Sambandha verses is about, he explains that we have a relationship with him. Abhideya verses are those which explain how to establish that or re-establish that relationship. Prayojana verses are those which says what is the goal of such relationship, right? So this is the way it goes. Okay. So we'll go to the, if nobody has any questions, we'll go to the next one. Okay. 2.9.34. Rite artham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyad atmano mayam yatha bhasho yatha tama. Rite, without, artham, value, yat, that which, pratiyeta, appears to be, na, not, pratiyeta, appears to be, cha, and atmani, in relation to me, tat, that, vidyat, you must know, atmana, my, mayam, illusion energy, yatha, just as, abhasha, the reflection, yatha, as, tama, the darkness. Translation. Please everybody focus. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Yes. Now here you should observe that Krishna can tell, one way of telling is, straight way of telling rather is, when you're giving knowledge, you say that me, you, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, everything we are related. That way, that we can tell. You know, my creation, me, you, we are all related. You can tell that, right? That's a normal way of saying it. But like I told, Krishna is Dhira Lalit. Lalit means the one who cracks jokes also, or sarcastically puts it, or changes, or puts it in a very unique way, you know, of presenting it. Instead of saying how he is related, Krishna is telling the reverse way here. Acharyas are explaining, he's telling the reverse way. He's saying that which is not me, if you are connecting with that, that is Maya. Right? So he's saying whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. 1 minute, please. I'll just get some water. I forgot to get water for myself. Just 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Sorry. Yeah. So here in translation once again, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusionary energy. That reflection which appears to be in darkness. Hare Krishna. So everything that we don't relate to Krishna is nothing but Maya. Right? Everything, including our body, our wealth, our properties, our beauty, everything. Purport. Please everybody focus as I read the purport. In the previous verse, okay, by the way, before I go there, so what categories does this verse fall into among the three categories? O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality, know it as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Is it Sambandha, Abhideya, or Prayojana?
Avideya.
It is Abhideya, process. Right? Here you are saying that how to understand me, what is the process? If you see there is no relation to me, don't consider it to me. It is darkness, it is Maya. Right? This is Abhideya verse. Thank you, Prabhuji. So purport. A little bit of Sambandha is also there, but the main focus of the verse is on the process aspect. Purport. In the previous verse, it has already been concluded that in any stage of the cosmic manifestation, its appearance, its sustenance, its growth, its interactions of different energies, its deterioration and its disappearance, all has its basic relation with the existence of the personality of Godhead. And as such, whenever there is forgetfulness of this prime relation with the Lord, and whenever things are accepted as real without being related to the Lord, that conception is called product of the illusionary energy of the Lord. Because nothing can exist without the Lord, it should be known that the illusionary energy is also an energy of the Lord. The right conclusion of dovetailing everything in relationship with the Lord is called Yogamaya, or the energy of union. And the wrong conception of detaching a thing from the relationship with the Lord is called Lord's Daivi Maya or Mahamaya. Both the Mayas also have connection with the Lord because nothing can exist without being related to Him. As such, the wrong conception of deviating relationships from the Lord is not false but illusionary. Now, Prabhuji Mataji, we should understand here that how do you apply it in your life, right? I mean, are we living in Maya or are we living in with the God? I mean, are we in Mahamaya or are we in Yogamaya? Very simple. If you lead a life remembering Krishna, then you are in Yogamaya. Whereas if you lead a life forgetting Krishna, you are in Mahamaya. Is my job Maya? A lot of sometimes devotees say, Prabhu, my entire job is Maya. No, job is not Maya. If you are a devotee, your job is also Mahamaya. Meaning, you are performing it fully conscious. You are performing it fully conscious that I'm doing this only for this purpose. 1 second. Yeah. So you're doing it fully conscious that I'm doing this job and I know who am I. I'm doing it for a purpose of making living for my family and helping some other people, doing my duty. But by the way, I am a servant of Krishna eternally. And after I leave this body, this job may not have any relation to me, but I'm doing this job keeping Krishna in the center. So for a devotee, there is no moment when he is not Krishna conscious and is never in Maya. Never in Maya, right? So it's very important here. When God says that which you identify not with me is Maya, we should understand that material world also is not Maya. As long as you know that it is material world, right? You know it is material world and you know that you are not this body, but you are in this material world, right? It's a soul experiencing material aspect. That is how a devotee thinks. A soul experiencing material aspect. Devotee understanding. Not a body experiencing soul. No, body is not experiencing soul. Soul is experiencing the body, right? You should have that clear understanding, and that will keep us in spiritual consciousness, and that will never allow us to be affected by Mahamaya. Now, let's go further. Misconceiving one thing for another thing is called illusion. For example, accepting a rope as a snake is illusion, but the rope is not false. The rope as it is exists in front of the illusion person. It is not at all false, but the acceptance is illusionary. Therefore, the wrong conception of accepting this material manifestation as being divorced from the energy of the Lord is illusion, but it is not false. And this illusionary conception is called reflection of the reality in the darkness of ignorance. I'll repeat the sentence. And this illusionary conception is called reflection of the reality in the darkness of ignorance. Wow, what a statement. Anything that appears as apparently not being produced out of my energy is called Maya. Right? Not being produced out of my energy. Anything that you say is called Maya. Actually, everything is produced out of his energy only. The moment you declare, no, this I have done, that is Maya. The moment you say, God has done this and used me as an instrument, that is called Mahamaya. That's not, that's not like, so that's called Yogamaya, not Mahamaya, sorry. That's like real right consciousness. Reality of the darkness. Okay. Anything that appears as apparently not being produced out of my energy is called Maya. The conception that the living entity is formless and the Supreme Lord is formless is also illusion. In Bhagavad Gita 2.12, it was said that the Lord in the midst of the battlefield, that the warrior standing in front of Arjuna, Arjuna himself, and even the Lord had all existed before. They were existing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and they would also continue to be individual personalities in the future also, even after the annihilation of the present body and even after the liberated form of the bondage of material existence. What is the verse here? Natvevam jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nachaivam na bhavishyamaha sarvepaya ataparam. Right? So that is the verse from Bhagavad Gita. Here is being quoted, 2.12. In all circumstances, the Lord and the living entities are individual personalities, and the personal features of both the Lord and living beings are never abolished. Only the influence of the illusion energy, the reflection of the light reflection of light in the darkness can, by the mercy of the Lord, be removed. In the material world, the light of the sun is also not independent, nor is that of the moon. The real source of the light is Brahma Jyoti, which diffuses light from the transcendental body of the Lord, and the same light is reflected in varieties of light: the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of fire, the light of electricity. So the identity of the self as being unconnected with the Supreme Self, the Lord, is also illusion, and the false claim I am the Supreme is the last illusionary snare of the same Maya, or the external energy of the Lord. So you can save people who can't see God or who can't experience God, but you cannot save people who think that they are God. ये हमारा भगवान है, मैं भगवान हूँ, तुम भगवान है, तुम नारायण, मैं नारायण. There are so many institutions where they call each other Narayan. They call each other Bhagwan also. Right? The suffix or prefix is Bhagwan. So that's nonsense institutions. Absolute bogus institutions which will only put you into much more difficult situation to go back to Krishna. Right? So the Vedanta Sutra in the very beginning affirms that everything is born from the Supreme, and thus, as explained in the previous verse, all individual living entities are born from the energy of the Supreme Living Being, the personality of Godhead. Brahma himself was born from the energy of the Lord, and all other living entities are born from the energy of the Lord through the agency of Brahma. None of them have any existence without being dovetailed with the Supreme Lord. So when Brahma is creating, Prabhupada uses a beautiful word that he said is a secondary creator. He never said Brahma is a creator. He said Brahma is a secondary creator. You will never see in Prabhupada's purport Brahma the creator. He said Brahma is a secondary creator. Meaning he is putting things together and is doing, but the things are already given by Krishna. The living entities are not created by Krishna, by Brahma. Living entities are brought from Mahavishnu's body into the bodies created by Brahma, right? Into the bodies in the three modes of material existence created by Brahma, the living entities are given the body. Okay. The independence of individual living entity is not real independence, but it is a reflection of the real independence existing in the Supreme Being, the Lord. The false claim of supreme independence by the conditioned soul is illusion, and this conclusion is admitted in this verse. Person with please focus this beautiful paragraph. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge become illusioned, and therefore the so-called scientists, psychologists, empiric philosophers, etc., become dazzled by the glaring reflection of the sun, moon, electricity, etc., and deny the existence of Supreme Lord, putting forward theories and different speculations about the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of everything material. The medical practitioner may deny the existence of the soul in the psychological body, in the physiological body, bodily construction of an individual person, but he cannot give life to a dead body. Even though all the mechanisms of the body exist even after death, the psychologist the psychologist makes a serious study of the physiological conditions of the brain, as if the construction of the cerebral lump were the machine of the functioning mind, but in the dead body, the psychologist cannot bring back the function of the mind. The scientific studies of the cosmic manifestation or the bodily construction independent of the Supreme Lord are different, reflective, intellectual gymnastics only. Intellectual gymnastics, see Prabhupada's words. But at the end, they are all illusion and nothing more. All such advancement of science and knowledge in the present context of material civilization is but an action of covering influence of the illusionary energy. The illusionary energy has two phases of existence, namely the covering influence and the throwing influence. By the throwing influence, the illusionary energy throws the living entity into the darkness of ignorance, and by the covering influence, she covers the eyes of the men with a poor fund of knowledge about existence of the Supreme Person, who enlightened the supreme individual living being, Brahma. The identity of Brahma with the Supreme Lord is never claimed herein, and therefore such a foolish claim by a man with a poor fund of knowledge is another display of illusionary energy of the Lord. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 6.18 to 20, 16.18 to 20, the demoniac persons who deny the existence of the Lord are thrown more and more into the darkness of ignorance, and thus such demoniac persons transmigrate life after life without any knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sane man, however, is enlightened in the disciplinic succession from Brahmaji, who was personally instructed by the Lord, or in the disciplinic succession from Arjuna, who was personally instructed by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. He accepts the statement of the Lord, Aham sarvasva prabho mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Bhagavad Gita 10.8. The Lord is the original source of all emanations, and everything that is created, made, and annihilated exists by the energy of the Lord. The same man who knows this is actually learned, and therefore he becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Although the reflectory energy of the Lord displays various illusions to the eyes of the persons with a poor fund of knowledge, the sane person knows clearly that the Lord can act even from far, far beyond our vision by his different energies, just as fire can diffuse heat and light from a distant place. In the medical science, the ancient sages, medical science of the ancient sages known as the Ayurveda, there are different acceptance. There is definite acceptance of the Lord's supremacy in the following words: Jagatyoner anichasya chid anandaika rupina pumso asti prakritir nitya pratichayeva bhashvata achetanapi chaitanya yogena paramatmana akrodha vishvam akhilam anityam natakar kritam nat kritim. There is one personality of Godhead. There is one supreme person who is the progenitor of this cosmic manifestation, and whose energy acts as Prakriti or the material nature, dazzling like a reflection. But such illusionary action of Prakriti, even dead matter is caused to move by the cooperation of living energy of the Lord, and the material world appears like a dramatic performance to the ignorant eyes. The ignorant person, therefore, may even be a scientist or psychologist or physiologist in the drama of Prakriti, while the sane person knows Prakriti as the illusionary energy of the Lord. By such a conclusion, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clear that the living entity are also a display of Lord's superior energy, Parashakti, Prakriti, just as the material world is a display of the Lord's inferior energy, Apara Prakriti. The superior energy of the Lord cannot be as good as the Lord, although there is very little difference between the energy and the possessor of the energy, or the fire and the heat. The fire is not possessed by the heat, but the heat is not fire. This simple thing is not understood by a man with poor fund of knowledge, who falsely claims that the fire and heat are the same. The energy of the fire, namely heat, is explained here as a reflection and not directly fire. Therefore, the living entity represented by the living entities, living energy represented by the living entities is the reflection of the Lord and never the Lord himself. Being the reflection of the Lord, the existence of the living entity is dependent on the Supreme Lord, who is the original light. The material energy may be compared to darkness, as actually it is darkness, and the activities of the living entities in the darkness are reflections of the original light. The Lord should be understood by the context of this verse. Non-dependence of both energies of the Lord is explained as Maya or illusion. No one can make a solution of the darkness of ignorance simply by the reflection of light. Similarly, no one can come out of material existence simply by the reflected light of the common man. One has to receive the light from the original light itself. The reflection of sunlight in the darkness is unable to drive out the darkness, but the sunlight outside the reflection can drive out the darkness completely. In darkness, no one can see the light, no one can see the things in a room. Therefore, a person in the dark is afraid of snakes and scorpions, although there may not be such things. But in the light, the things in the room can be clearly seen, and the fear of snakes and scorpions is at once removed. Therefore, one has to take shelter of the light of the Lord, as in the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, and not the reflective personalities who have no touch with the Lord. No one should hear Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam from a person who does not believe in the existence of the Lord. Such a person is already doomed, and any association with such doomed person makes the associator also doomed. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hari Bol. Ecstatic purport. Last paragraph. According to the Padma Purana, within the material compass, there are innumerable material universes. Please hear this attentively. Within the material compass, there are innumerable material universes, and all of them are full of darkness. Any living being, beginning from the Brahma, there is innumerable Brahmas and innumerable universes to the insignificant ant. All are born in darkness. So we're all born in darkness. And they require factual light from the Lord to see him directly, just as the sun can be seen only by the direct light of the sun. No lamp or man-made torch, however powerful it may be, can help one see the sun. The sun reveals itself. Therefore, the action of different energies of the Lord or the personality of God himself can be realized by the light manifested by the causeless mercy of the Lord. The impersonalist can say that Lord cannot be seen, God can be seen by the light of God and not by man-made speculations. Here, this light is specifically mentioned as Vidyad, which is an order by the Lord to Brahma. This direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of his internal energy, and this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord face to face. Not only Brahma, but anyone who may be glanced by the Lord to see such merciful, direct internal energy can also realize the personality of Godhead without any mental speculation. Hare Krishna. So the verse once again is what? O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, it is without relation. If it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusion energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Yeah. So explain what is Maya, what is him, and how to understand it. And never both of them are same. Let me go to the next verse, the third verse of Chatushloka. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha vasheshu anu pravistani aparvistani tata teshu nar tveshvi aham. Yatha, just as, mahanti, the universal, bhutani, elements, bhuteshu vacha avacheshu, in the minute and gigantic, anu, after, pravistani, entered, pravistani, not entered, tatha, so, teshu, in them, na, not, teshu, in them, aham, myself. Translation. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within the everything created. At the same time, I'm outside and opposite of everything. Beautiful. So he is trying to separate himself from his creation and saying that these are all my energies through which I'm creating everything, but I'm separate from it. Just like the material elements, like air, water, fire, ether, they all are used to create. They enter into the cosmos to create, but doesn't mean that they don't exist after. They are there. They're separately there, but they also are used to create the cosmos. Right? I'm actually thinking the purports are pretty long. The last one was pretty long. Whether we all can read the purport later, or should we just discuss some aspects of it and go forward, or should I just read the purport? How much time do we have? 8:55.
Prabhu, this is also an important verse. This is the confidential knowledge. So might make sense to take it in another class also, Prabhu. I'll have to log off in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe we can do the Chatushloki second 2 verses in another class. Is that okay to everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So Praveen Prabhu, I think on Saturday, if it's okay with you, I will take the class Saturday. Subhara Prabhu, whoever is coordinating. Should we, Praveen Prabhu, can I take the Saturday class then? Continue.
Prabhuji, of course, Prabhuji. Why not? Prabhuji, why are you asking? Prabhuji? Please, Prabhuji.
Okay. Because somebody else is already scheduled, I request the permission. I'll go ahead and finish this.
Yes, Prabhuji, please, Prabhuji.
Yeah. I also felt I don't want to miss these purports because Prabhupada has put his heart into these purports. He wants us to read it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right?
Yes.
And we should also discuss this out. The third and the fourth are prayojana, actually, prayojana knowledge. Right? So we don't want to miss the goal of the whole Chatushloki.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. So quickly, couple of minutes for any questions or answers, any reflections. See, one thing is, lot of Mayavadi people don't like to discuss these verses because it's heavy philosophy, right? In fact, Prabhupada says in one place that Chatushloki Bhagavat is appreciated by devotees in Bhakti Marg, but the Sahajiyas just want to discuss about Rasa dance. They don't want to discuss about, they want only Ras Lila. They only want Rasa. But for devotees, even these verses are Rasa. For us, even these verses are Rasa. We don't try to find Rasa when God is, the Lord is dancing only. Even when Lord is revealing himself to Brahma, this is also Rasa. Right? He's Rasa Raj. In everything he does, there is Rasa.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one small.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Ramred.
Prabhu, yeah, you were mentioning that one example where Mayavad is we are within the pot and then pot breaks. That's the example they give, right, Prabhu? In our purports also, in some places it's mentioned, Prabhu, we are part and parcel of Krishna. So, what does it mean, Prabhu? Like when we say part and parcel of Krishna, we are within Krishna, right? Or is it?
Yes, we are part of Krishna. We are part of Krishna. At the same time, we are not Krishna. We are coming from Krishna. At the same time, we are not Krishna. Right? So that's the beauty of concluding Siddhanta of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Shankaracharya gave Advaita, Ramanujacharya gave Vishishta Advaita, Madhvacharya gave Dvaita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said all the three are correct. Achintya Veda Tattva. He said simultaneously we are one, Lord is one, at the same time different. So are we coming from God? Yes, we are coming from God. But are we God? No, we are God. We are not God. Right? But do we have the same qualities of God? Yes, we have the same qualities of God. But in quantity, are we equal to God? No, we are not equal to God. Does God become us or we become God? No. After dying, where will we go? We all will go into Mahavishnu's body. Right? After annihilation, what happens? There is partial annihilation and there is, big annihilation. So partial annihilation is after every Manvantara. There is annihilation. Actually, there are many annihilations. After end of every day of Brahma also, there is annihilation. So where do all the living entities go? we all go back into Mahavishnu. Right? Narayana. Naras, the place where they are taking shelter. The place where all the souls take shelter is called Narayana. Right? So, doesn't mean that when we enter Narayana, we become Narayana. No, Narayana is going to send us back again. Narayana is going to send us back again. Whenever the creation again starts, all these conditioned souls are parked there. So, are we part of him? Yes. When we are in the spiritual world, still, Krishna is Krishna, Gopas are Gopas. Even though everything is spiritual there, but Krishna is Krishna. Just like sun rays, he says, example is sun rays, right? So, sun rays and sun planet are still different, even though sun rays are coming from the sun planet.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Achintya, Veda, Abheda. Simultaneously one and different. That is the greatness of this philosophy, which appreciates all the conclusions of all the acharyas and at the same time says that Krishna is a person. Though simultaneously we all belong to him only, but he is a person. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes. Qualitatively one, quantitatively different.
Yes. Qualitatively one. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. Conscious quality, we are one. Nityanam. Okay.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we discussed before the Purusha Avtara, there was single Lord, Krishna. So at that time, we all were eternally present, or after that, Krishna expanded as Radharani, Balram, and all that came?
No. Krishna, Radharani, Balram are eternally there. Expansion also is eternally there. It's not like at one point Krishna was there, then Radharani came out. Radha and Krishna were always there. But for our understanding, Acharyas have told that this part of Krishna comes as Haladini Shakti, comes as Radharani. Radharani represents the Haladini Shakti. Right? And Balramji, is his eternal Guru Tattva, is a servitor. Like that. But they are eternally there. Love inside you and you are eternally there. But that love is called as love. And that is Radha. Eternally there. Actually, the concept of eternality cannot be understood by us because we are not seeing anything eternal. Because everything is a start date. Prabhu, shuru kab hua batao mujhe. As soon as a problem starts, and a production ticket comes, what do we ask? When did it begin? What was the first error you got? We are so conditioned by start date and end date. It is so difficult to understand how can anything be eternal. अरे कब तो चालू हुआ होगा ना चालू नहीं हुआ. We are also eternal. It's not like new batch of souls is being created. Some people, oh, Krishna is going on creating, isn't it overpopulation? No. All of us were there since ever. Like your daughter, she was there since ever. You think she's young now? Pagalatum. She's there since ever, since the time Krishna is there. Now she is in a small girl's body. She'll become big girl. Then she'll become mother. Then become grandmother. Then she'll leave the body. Then again she'll take another body. Right? So we are eternal, eternally there. So is Krishna and his abode.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, might be a silly question from my end, Prabhu. I mean, the same part, like, in quantity also, I mean, there is a definite, soul size. I remember you saying it is 1 by 10,000th part of tip of hair.
Yes.
Similarly, Prabhuji, I mean, the count of soul, number of is shastrically, is there any measurement, Prabhu? Because Akshavonis, we have some count in Mahabharata. The very huge numbers are told in a specific word, but number of our God brothers and God sisters across all the Brahmandas? Is there any count, Prabhu, shastrically mentioned? I know it's not necessary for me, but I was a little curious. When a lot of people asked that when we say 2/3 or 1/4 is only material part and 3/4 is the spiritual world, then so many people were asking, so number of souls are also fixed. So is there any count as such, Prabhu?
Yes, count is there, but Krishna only knows that.
Okay.
For us, it's unlimited.
Okay. Fine, Prabhu.
For us, it's unlimited, but Krishna knows the count.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu.
And at the same time, Krishna also says in one place in Bhagavatam that I don't know how unlimited I am. So again, it's a big dispute. Does he also know or does he also not know? But Krishna knows.
And Prabhuji, and we can ask him when we go to Golok.
Huh?
We can ask Krishna when we go to Golok.
Yes, we can ask him. But let me tell one thing. There is only one Mahesh Prabhu in entire creation.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
That is the beauty of Krishna. No, that is the beauty of Krishna. Understand that.
Unique identity.
You are unique. There is only one like you. There are 7 similar looking bodies. There are 7 similar looking bodies. They say that, exactly similar looking bodies, 7 of them are there. They say all that. But one Mahesh Prabhu and his relationship with Krishna is unique. That is the reason he is waiting for us.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
And nobody can be replaced by
No.
Prabhu. That's the unique. That is Swarup.
కృష్ణుడు ఒక్కసారి కమిట్ అయితే తన మాట తన మార్చడు.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu, it is said that even we material scientists, we can't even count the hairs on our head. So how can we know the extension of Krishna? So like that, there are
don't, Prabhuji, don't challenge the scientists. They are such big fools that they'll actually count and take a Nobel Prize. Whole life they'll spend to count the hairs on a head, and then they will take a Nobel Prize. And we'll also our children have to study that person's name and write in the answer and get marks also. So let's not challenge the scientists. As it is, they are doing useless work. Right? 90% of the work done is useless only. Unnecessary work they are doing. They all should, Prabhupada says, they should sit down and read Bhagavatam and understand the world. That is real science. Yeah. And another thing, Mahesh Prabhu, when you say that, what is that Upanishad where that is told, the tip of a hair? Chaitanya Charitamrita is quoted. And there is another necessary.
Chandogya Upanishad?
No, not Chandogya Upanishad. Some place.
Kalishantara Upanishad?
No, Kalishantara only has 8 verses. It's only about Hare Krishna mantra. No. Okay, anyway, we'll get back to that. But the point is, understand the reason it is said so. A fool will actually take a hair and he'll take the tip and try to make 10,000 parts and finally say that it is soul. But he cannot see the 10,000 part because it is spiritual. Because mundane people cannot understand, the spiritual aspect. So they are told, Pura, 10,000 of the tip of a hair, that is soul, go find it. He'll never find it because you cannot go. It's not like you pluck your hair and make, I'm not talking about your hair, I'm talking about a mosquito's hair. Probably mosquito's hair only I can't see. See, hair itself you can't see. Where will you see the tip and then break that into 100 parts and then each part into another 100 parts? That is the size of the soul, which means you cannot see soul. If you tell a materialistic mundane person you cannot see soul, he will not agree. If you tell that it's spiritual, that which is spiritual cannot be seen by materialized, he will not agree. So it's okay. You want to find where is soul? Go make 10,000 part of it. Here, go. Right? So certain things given in the scriptures are indirectly indicating how we should understand them. That which is spiritual cannot be seen with material. Like in the last purport, it is told in Vaikuntha Lokas, everybody can see Krishna. But in material world, you can't see Krishna because we have material vision. Unless he allows himself to see. Beautiful example Prabhupada gave is that the sun, it has to reveal itself by sending the sun rays. You can't get up early in the morning, take a torch. Oh, I think it comes from that direction, right? I'll put the torch and see if I can see the sun. You cannot see the sun. 1,000 torches you put, you can't see the sun. Unless sun itself reveals itself by sending the rays. So that which is spiritual can't be seen by material. But to convince these, conditioned souls, calculative scientists, they say 1/10 on the tip of a hair. Go find out. Make a Microsoft. Make a microscope. For the rest of eternity, you'll be making that microscope, which will never show that level of thing.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I think many of such topics are there which are out of at least our conception. Like if you say Kalpavriksha tree, we don't know how and what it is.
Exactly. The word mercy. How do you understand this word mercy? We use it so often. Right? Mercy. Transcendental. My God. That word never existed in our English dictionaries. I mean to say our school textbooks, transcendental, beyond time and space. These are spiritual language. Can't be understood. Okay, so thank you all for joining. Happy Ekadashi and have a wonderful Sheteshwara Upanishad. Thank you, Prabhuji. 1/10. Thank you, Satyadev Prabhu. So once again, for everybody on the call, on this Friday, we are going to have some night outing in VSK. So we have not seen much enthusiastic count, but whoever comes, we'll have a good time. We are going ahead still. So anybody don't give a last minute, appearance, because you have to do some planning. Tell in advance that you're coming. And Saturday we'll stay there, and Saturday morning we'll have Bhagavatam class. So Bhagavatam class Saturday morning, I think now I have to go, from BSK, and it will be this topic only, So Subhara Prabhu has to make 2 announcements. One of them I already know, but it is from him. Yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
So first thing, Saturday class, we will be continuing this, Prabhu, or we will be starting the next one?
No, we'll continue this class.
We'll continue. So you will do the Saturday class.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, very good. So Prabhu, we have a couple of small things, Prabhu. So today we have this person, the Prabhu. He's come from TV and
What is the name? What is the name again?
Jadu Thakur Das Prabhu.
Jadu Thakur Prabhu, okay.
So he takes care of Vidyavan program and skill development program for rural GEV basically. So he is here in Hyderabad for other activities. So he's staying with us. So wondering if we can gather this evening or anything, if you want to spend some time, or how do we want to?
Yes, go ahead and send a invite in Gachibowli group. Okay. Tell them to quickly give a count by personally sending to you, or they can just put another count. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for today evening.
So more about what will be discussed as a topic. What will be discussed in the meeting?
Basically about rural preaching and how they are doing about how they're going about rural activities, basically.
Oh, about the program. Okay,
about the program mostly. It's not like it's not going to be a Bhagavad Gita class or Bhagavatam class or anything.
Okay, Prabhu.
More understanding life at GEV, things like that. It's going to be a lot informal, I guess. Yeah. So, Prabhu, shall we do it? It's okay, right, Prabhu?
We can actually. I personally today I have another obligation, another devotee I have to meet in the evening.
Okay.
But that shouldn't stop you from calling others.
Okay.
So why don't you do a thing? Say, just send an invite, Prabhuji, that this is about this class. Put the subject and ask everyone to personally reply to you whoever is coming. So according to that, you can arrange it.
Okay. Based on the people number.
Yeah. Otherwise, 2 different counts in the same group, it will create more confusion.
Okay.
Yeah. Until when is Prabhuji here? Till
Friday morning, Prabhu.
Oh, he's here for 2-3 days.
Today and tomorrow. He's here till today and tomorrow, basically. But tomorrow evening, I have our Bhagavatam reading class, basically.
Yeah, and Gaurang Darshan Prabhu is coming, right?
Gaurang Darshan Prabhu is coming, and he'll be talking Brahma Vimohan Lila 10.13 and 10.14 chapters. Basically.
Yes. So please send that invite again in the group, Prabhu. I'll also send it across. Let everyone join. It will be a class in Telugu by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu.
So these are the two things.
Wonderful. By your grace and seva, we are able to get association of the senior devotees. Thank you, Prabhu.
So I asked for him when I was at GEV. He said then after Kartik Yatra, and then after Kartik Yatra, he had some weekday programs, and he sent message saying like, now he's free. So I said absolutely, Prabhu. So we're trying to do at least 1 in 2 months, Prabhu. So after this, it will be Yugal Kishore Das Prabhu, 1 chapter from 10th Canto, 2nd volume. Then we'll see.
Very nice. Hari. Thank you very much, Prabhus and Matajis. Thank you for joining. Happy Ekadashi. Chant extra rounds. Please pray for the health of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj and all the other great Vaishnava souls, who are serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. They live with us for a longer time and they keep guiding us for a longer time. Especially prayers to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo ananta koti vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande. Hari.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.